Now, speaking of a good time, this is a good time for some people. I'm not one of them, though. I'll be honest. I don't know how to feel about this. And that is that Hayden Christensen will be returning as Anakin Skywalker for the Ahsoka Tano Disney Plus series starring Rosario Dawson. I am very conflicted on this one because I am very public in my dislike of, I'll put it that way, of Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker and as an actor in general. Like, I don't think he could have made the script work either way just because of some of the dialogue he's forced to say, but I've seen him in other things, and I don't like him in other things. So I take this news as just kind of But at the same time, this theoretically can fix his Anakin because this series is set to be after Return of the Jedi. So if he's in this, scenes are clearly going to be a flashback. And if this gives him some actual characterization, I think the Ahsoka character did more to fix Anakin than anything else in the prequels. Like, it humanized him. It really, really worked. Where Ahsoka is never going to be my favorite Star Wars character, I think her role was important in getting us to understand that side of Anakin more. And Clone Wars, I think, did a better job of showing the fall to the dark side than just, well, he got mad for 30 minutes and then decided to kill everyone. So if this shows us some flashback scenes to him with Ahsoka, more personal stuff. Also, I trust the people so far making the Star Wars Disney Plus stuff. Like, Mandalorian far surpassed all of our expectations. I don't know what to expect with Kenobi, but I'm more excited for Kenobi than I have been for any of the Mandalorian stuff, just because it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know who's doing the Ahsoka series, but they've given me no reason to doubt it yet. So I don't know. I'm still just kind of about this, because it still feels kind of gimmicky to me, especially considering I'll have to come back and reevaluate this after we've seen the Kenobi series, because he will be on that as well. Now, if he blows me away on Kenobi, between his appearance on the Kenobi series and Ahsoka, it could fix his stuff in the prequels, in which case wouldn't be the first time Lucasfilm has gone back and tried to fix stuff that they themselves have broken. Mandalorian just lately feels like an apology to Star Wars fans, so maybe this is an apology to Hayden Christensen?
I think it could be. And I think in some ways having him in Ahsoka makes just like almost more sense. Not to say that like...
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because without Clone Wars... No. Sorry, I'm trying to... Because it still makes sense with Obi-Wan, but I think with Anakin being in this Ahsoka series, I think it kind of makes... I understand why he's there now. Like, yes, it's flashbacks, but like you said, like, at least now that we can have some actual brother moments being shown between Obi-Wan and Anakin, actually show how good of friends they were, like in live action, not just because as much as I love Clone Wars and Rebels and all of our animated shows, I hate having to be put in a situation where people are like, well, this thing about Anakin doesn't make sense. This thing about this thing about Star Wars, but yeah, but they explain it in like Rebels or like in Clone Wars and blah blah blah. And like, yeah, but I don't want to watch the animated shows. And I was like, fair enough.
Yep,
crap.
we still have some of our friends that refuse to watch Rebels because they hate the animation style and think it's for kids.
Yeah, which is crazy because in the second season they start killing Rebels on screen. But yes, it makes more sense to me to have him in Ahsoka. I'm a little bit more forgiving of Hayden. I like him in Jumper, and I don't mind him in...
Glass?
What is it?
Glass?
Is that the one where he's a part of like a bunch of... like a group of like thieves or something like that?
No. Glass is where he's a news reporter that purposely lied to get headlines.
Oh, so Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler before Nightcrawler, basically.
Yeah, But no, there's like another movie he's in with like Chris Brown and some other people. That's like he's actually pretty good in.
Snatchers?
Snatchers, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
I think.
It's not
But
Snatch because that's something different.
no, that's a movie with my other boy Jason Statham. But yeah, I think I'm a little bit more forgiving. Because I mean, at the end of the day, Anakin in the movies is just a whiny teenager, and I think he plays him as a whiny teenager, and then does his best to deliver that dialogue. So yeah, if anything, this will be. I'm hoping that this is a savior moment for Hayden. Because I mean, he's an attractive dude. He's a pretty cool guy. I can see him being in some other things. He just has gotta you gotta erase that kind of stain that was the prequels on his resume.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the current focus on Disney Plus is, all right, we're gonna go back and kind of tweak the perception of the prequels. Like for
Hmm.
a certain generation, the meme generation, they think the prequels are better than the originals just because they can meme the crap out of it. Like, oh my gosh, Revenge of the Sith has been turned into a meme. But like, I don't even think it's an ironic love. I think it's generally a generation that grew up with it and loves and appreciates it. Like, I still
Hmm.
can watch the prequels. I don't hate them like the generation that grew up watching the original trilogy. I just think it's always funny with Star Wars. There's always, after every single movie, except for A New Hope, there's always this backlash of, oh man, Star Wars is ruined now. Even Empire Strikes
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
And it's always the exact same thing with Star Wars. You've got the previous generation that hates whatever's new, but then a new generation comes along and defends that thing. That's why whenever people are just like, God, the sequel trilogy was bad, I'm like, you think that, but just wait 5 to 10 years, and I bet you anything, we're going to have a generation that Adam Driver's Kylo Ren is their favorite Star Wars character, or Rey is their favorite Star Wars character. Just like how a lot of people hated the prequels, but you could not convince young Nathan that Obi-Wan Kenobi and the Darth Maul fight wasn't the greatest moment in movie history, or that the
Yeah.
arena battle in Attack the Clones wasn't the coolest thing in the world, because it
It's still so-
is.
oh,
It still
So
is.
cool.
It's the closest we've ever seen an army of Jedi, and it's just amazing. But Star
Yes.
Wars is allowed to be for everyone. And while I'm not a fan of him as an actor, Hayden Christensen as a person has always seemed like a really, really cool deal that's kind of got the raw end of the deal fandom-wise. And so I
Yeah.
think he's slowly kind of like testing the waters of, do I want to get back into this? And I think it's really, really cool that fans have been so receptive to him lately. Like, what was it, Star Wars Celebration a few years ago he was at, and got a huge ovation, got a big warm welcome, which I think is awesome. So hopefully this thing can kind of change my perception of him. I want to like him. I really do. And I think this could be, between this and Kenobi, I think that could be a real possibility. I'll be curious if there's other things with the prequels that Disney kind of goes back. Because Disney, since they've acquired Lucasfilm, hasn't really acknowledged the prequel era a ton. They do Clone Wars stuff, but that's about it. They're just like, well, we can milk more money out of the original trilogy. Whereas
Yeah.
Filoni and Favreau, I think, are just such fans of all the source material, so they just kind of want to expand the universe in every direction, which I think is really, really cool. And kind of, since they're fans, they want to go back and do things for the fans that we might not have been able to get the first time around, like a good
Yeah.
Anakin Obi-Wan relationship, more stuff and better performances out of Anakin, better writing for Anakin. So I think the current leadership that will soon be in place, I think, has an idea of what fans want or how they can change fans' perception for the better, which I think is a really good thing.
Yeah, and how they can use this opportunity to tell better Star Wars stories, and just I do like how they're kind of going back to the prequels and not retconning anything, but like adding little details that make it better, which is so much better than your sequel trilogy where your second movie writes you into a corner and then you got to figure out how to tell a story in your final chapter. But anyway,
Yeah.
and that being said, I will say I grew up with the prequels, and Kylo Ren is like one of my top 10 favorite characters.
Oh yeah.
So